The thought of one of your children going missing is every parent's worst nightmare. The minute you're in a shop and that you realise your child is not where you thought they were, your mind races with every terrible eventuality that may have happened, and the utter relief when you spot them walking along oblivious to your sufferings. Here a remarkable story of such an event took place in Edinburgh. Mary Brown lived with her husband and 3 children in the King's Stables area of the city. She sent her 3 or 4-year-old daughter Margaret to the home of a nearby neighbour in the morning of the 12th of May 1817. When her husband, Mason, James Wrench, came home for dinner, his wife told him that his daughter Margaret was lost. James went straight to the nearest police station and reported his young daughter missing. The police sent the town crier through the town, shouting a description of the missing child. With no luck, James got up early the next morning and made his way to Leith, where he went to the police station and reported his child missing there. The now frantic father, with no news and convinced his daughter had been stolen, then walked towards Queensferry, stopping to ask at all the houses on the route. Some women in a barn told James that a woman and a young child had passed the day before. This story of a woman and child being seen was verified when James spoke to the tollman at Craigleith. A woman called Miss Marshall told James that she had met a young woman who had said she had come from the Cape of Good Hope and was going to Fife. Miss Marshall said she had given this woman a penny to help with the ferry costs. In South Queensferry, the ferryman told James that a woman and child had indeed crossed the Firth of Forth the day before. He had felt so sorry for her that he let her cross for free. But the boatman also said that the child was breastfeeding. James was dejected, for he knew that if this child was breastfeeding, it was not his daughter, for surely a feeding child would be much younger. He headed back home. On the road, he again met Miss Marshall, and she persuaded him to continue with this lead regarding the child. James got back on the ferry and crossed to Fife. He found out that the woman had headed to Dunfermline. He traced this woman and child to a lodging house and obtained permission from the local magistrate to have the building searched. A man told them to go to Halbeath. There, in a house, a child was found. When she saw her dad, Margaret ran over to him and threw herself into his arms, kissing his cheek. Margaret told her dad that in Edinburgh a woman had given her some sweetmeats and told her she was going to be taken to her grandmother's. The woman's name was Janet Douglas, and she was about 20 years old. Janet denied that she'd stolen Margaret from Edinburgh and blamed her aunt. She said she'd given her aunt her child to watch, and when she returned, her aunt had misplaced Janet's, so gave her this one instead. She stated if she went to Edinburgh, she would soon clear herself. Janet Douglas was tried at the High Court on the 8th of September 1817 with the crime of man-stealing.
Explore Provan Hall after dark.
Is it really haunted?
Join us to find out.
If you dare.
A number of witnesses spoke of seeing this woman in the dock with a child. Grace McPherson, who lived near Cramond, said that the accused had come to her house. She asked Janet if she had carried the child from the town of Edinburgh, and the accused replied that she had come from the Cape of Good Hope. Miss McPherson said the child looked pitiful and gave her some broth. McPherson saw the child again, this time on the father's back, after he had found his daughter and was taking her home. William Halliday told the court that a woman came into the toll house at Craigleith. When she asked for a drink, he gave her one. William spoke of the girl's father visiting the toll house and asking about the missing girl the next day. Janet Douglas stated that at first she said she'd been given the child by a woman she met on the road. Then she admitted taking the child. Janet said she was a coal bearer at Gilmerton Colliery but lost her job. She planned to go to Halbeath and try and get work in the local pit there. She thought if she had a child, the man responsible for hiring workers would take pity on the starving child and offer Janet employment. She said that she intended to return Margaret to her family. The judge found Janet Douglas guilty and sentenced her to hang on the 15th of October 1817. The Morning Post newspaper, dated the 3rd of October, says that the Prince Regent sent the magistrates of Edinburgh a respite for Janet. It is worth quoting the Westmoreland Advertiser in Kendal Chronicle, printed on the 18th of October 1817. The paper talks about the public sympathy for Janet and says that Janet appears from the evidence at the trial to have been of excellent character and industrious habits. She was induced to commit the crime from great distress. After possessing herself of the child, she used it well, and the presumption is that she would, in the course of no long time, have given it back to its parents. She also appears to be inexperienced and ignorant of the world. The general impression seems to be that the circumstances of the case strongly plead for the exercise of mercy. The object of all punishment is example, but the crime of child stealing is now of such rare occurrence that the state of society affords so little temptation to acts of this nature, that in this view the execution of this young woman would hardly have been regarded as a necessary act of justice. The Caledonian Mercury newspaper on 18th October states, "The Prince Regent has been pleased to grant a remission to Janet Douglas, prisoner in the Tolbooth of the city, under sentence of death for child stealing, on condition of transportation for life." If you've enjoyed the story, please like and subscribe. You might like to take one of our dark history tours, ghost tours, or paranormal investigations that are held in Perthshire, Glasgow and Stirling. If so, please visit our website, which is www.historyandhorrortours.com. Thank you.